If you can't tell, I have a huge grin on my face because I'm so excited about the show that we are putting on for you today. Like the knowledge that you're going to get, the information that's going to be served is going to be out of this world. And the reason for that is because the guest that we are going to be having on our show today is basically like a celebrity coach, advisor, consultant, marketing guru, and you all are going to know who it is. So I'm going to keep you guys in suspense here for a minute, and I'm just going to ask you guys to, if you have any questions while this show is going on, please put your questions and comments below. We are going to be here to answer all of your questions, and it's going to be very, very valuable. So don't forget to put your questions below. If you're watching this on the replay, then I first of all want to just say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this show. And excuse me, even if you're watching it on the replay, understand that when you put your questions below, we are still going to answer all of those questions. So, all right, we're going to get this show rocking and rolling. So let me get this show going. So today, everybody, hello and welcome to the Michael Meier Show for Real Estate Rockstars. Today, we have on our show someone that truly inspires me. His name is Chris Smith. If you don't know Chris Smith, the author of Curator, if you don't know who he is, you need to find out who he is. Just to give you an idea, I'm very into learning and growing. When Chris is online and he's doing a show and he's teaching something, I get late to my appointments because I can't shut off what he's teaching and because I find it so valuable. So this is really, really good, solid stuff. So we're going to get into this show and it'll start with the Michael Meier Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Guys, hi everybody. Welcome back to the show. We're going to get this show rocking and rolling. So let me jump in over here. Jennifer is our co-host on the show, and she's going to be here to answer any of your questions below. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask your comments and questions below as we continue. The guest that we have on the show today is Chris Smith. All right. So, Chris he's just a phenomenal individual. He comes from a place of value and sharing and abundance, and he really helps a ton of people in the real estate industry and probably, in other industries as well. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Chris in case you don't know who he is, and I even know who he is. And there's just so much information to say about him. It's hard to remember. So first of all, he's a co-founder of Curator. All right. And you guys should check out Curator. He teaches people how to use social media, digital marketing. It's basically a sales coaching company. That's what he has. That's what he runs. And just to give you an idea of the kind of business that his company does. So in the last 4 years, they brought in $15 million in recurring revenue. And I'm going to have him share the details of the stats and everything with us in a moment. But let's go right in there. Chris, are you there?
I'm here, man. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I've been super excited. You know what you're doing and you love sharing it. So first of all, let me just say on behalf of everybody here, thank you so very, very much for doing the honor and sharing your wisdom with us today.
No problem at all.
So Chris, no one's going to do a better job at explaining what you do and who you are better than yourself. Would you mind just giving a quick little commercial about who you are, what you do, so that people who don't know you yet will now have a better feel?
Sure, no problem, man. Like you said, I run Curator. I'm an author. I stay really busy. I was named, the most influential person in real estate in my early 30s and leveraged that momentum. And I speak for about 50 to 60,000 people a year in person. Life is good. We love sales and marketing and tech. We help small businesses grow faster, and we're building a community of like-minded people. So if you think about realtors or lawyers or physicians, you don't always think of them as digital marketers. You don't think of them as being on the bleeding edge of Facebook advertising. So we like to explain what we do is we love pixels. We love passwords, and our clients love people. That's really who we are.
That's fantastic. So a minute ago, we were just talking very briefly before the the live went on, and you were explaining something that I thought was really insightful. You said you're not like a technology company and you're not solely a coaching company. You kind of merge both worlds. You give people the knowledge that they need in the coaching, and then you provide them with the tools. Did I sum that up correctly?
Yeah, I mean, I think in real estate, a lot of the coaches get you fired up with nowhere to go. You know, Gary V, I know you're a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk there in New York City. He has a huge poster on his wall. It says, ideas are shit.
Yeah.
Because execution is where it's at. You know, it's not about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's about the rainbow. We like working. We like doing. We're not in this for the accolades. We're in this because we actually love it. So I think, you know, we wake up and work hard. We're passionate. We're driven. And people notice. You know, that's my thing. And Jimmy and I talk about this a lot is, what if you just spent all day being so good people couldn't ignore you?
Yeah. It's people definitely aren't ignoring you, and thank you for that. So the topic of the show today is talking about how to turn leads into sales. And I want to preface that with who's watching the show and who will be watching the show. So, you know, over time, more and more people are going to be watching the show, and we're going to be keeping it on live. So if you're watching this on the replay, please put your comments and questions below and we'll get to them. But a lot of agents that are watching the show are either new agents or people that have been in the business for a couple of years. They're doing some, they're doing some volume. They're okay, but they want to accelerate their career to another level. And everybody's always talking to them about get leads, buy leads, this, that, leads. And a lot of them are like, yeah, we get a lot of leads, but we're not closing a lot of sales. And so I'm so happy that you're going to be sharing with us in talking about that topic a little bit. So I'm going to let you take the floor a little bit and tell us a little bit about how agents, what's the mentality an agent should have when it comes to leads and conversions to close sales?
Well, the first thing is it is mindset, Michael. You have to remember that the fortune is in the follow-up. That speed and tenacity and effort and following up, while it might not be as fun as Facebook, it's more fruitful. Like I see agents, especially some of these new agents, you mentioned new people, they go in the Facebook groups all day and they look at all these ideas. And what happens is they sort of get analysis paralysis. Like the key to winning is playing, not practicing. Like, yes, you have to practice and learn so you can go on the field and win. And I just feel like everybody's in the lab and nobody's in the factory. Everybody's in the lab sharing ideas, and very few people are actually out there executing, looking at how it went, and then making it better. So the first thing is that you have to understand that we live in a world where there are going to be a lot more leads than sales. We also live in a world where every lead is an internet lead. I don't even care if you get all your business from past clients and referrals. If you actually think they're not going to look at you online still a little bit, you're nuts. So we live in a digital first world. We live in a world where the phone call doesn't happen until the Facebook ad gets clicked on. And so what we tell people is the first thing is you have to have a black lab mindset. I'll give you some stats here, Mike.
Nice.
In 2011, there were actually 4.4 million homes sold, and there were only 2.5 million leads in real estate. So there were more solds than leads. 4 years later, there were 80 million leads and still just 5 million homes sold. So when you come from my background, I worked in the boiler room of billionaires. I used to have to call 100 people a day, pull 5 credits, write 2 loans, get 1 deal. So when you come from a world of internet leads like I did, or the boiler room, and you start calling in the morning and the first 8 people say, fuck you, it's like a normal morning. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I totally know what you mean.
It's Tuesday.
Totally know what you mean.
But if you're a realtor, picture a realtor that's been working by referral, following the Buffini system, working their past clients in their sphere for 20 years, and then they start calling these millennial Zillow leads. It's a new world. So that's why I wrote the conversion code. I think you might need a new script. You might need a new coach. You might need a new approach because the world just changed. Now, the key to this, though, is really that there are things that are tried and true. And that's what I focus on. Like, every business needs leads. Every business needs appointments and every business needs sales. The difference between me and a lot of the people watching is I'm just not romantic about where those things come from. I don't care if it used to come from here and now it comes from here.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's funny what you say because so I have a brokerage here in New York City. And when an agent comes into my office and it's a new agent, they're coming for an interview and they're brand new to the industry. And some of them are like, we want to take all the time that we can to learn the process and learn all this stuff. And I think it's great to learn, of course. But then you have other agents that come in and maybe they're coming in at the end of the summer, and in Manhattan, the summer is rental season. You can make a lot of money in rentals, and it's the end of the season. And they're like, Michael, we only have a week to learn everything we need to know to get out there and do deals. I love those people because they go out there and they learn on the job, and their answers are all here in the office. They're not going to disservice any of their clients, but they don't have the excuse of let me take time to figure it out. They go.
What it is, Michael? They don't know what they don't know. And there's something that's powerful about being green, about being new. I remember my first week in sales, my coach said, hey guys, if you don't make your numbers, you're fired. And so I'm like, well, how do I make my numbers? I don't even know the script. I don't know the product. He said, Chris, all you need is enthusiasm. If I am sold myself with each and every interaction, I'm going to make sales. I remember working at Quicken Loans. I didn't know what the fuck APR was. I didn't know what PMI was. I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't know what a 3-year HELOC was. But I know that people need to save money, and I know people buy from people they like and trust. And the way that you do that over the phone is through your tone, is through your enthusiasm. It's the way you sound. So again, if you're a realtor, and you're used to being belly to belly, and you're used to being in somebody's car, or they're in your car and you're going to look at rentals in Manhattan, there are competitive advantages to being face to face. But when you're on the phone, you lose that. You don't have physiology. And what's interesting is tone, not so much what we say, how we say it, is actually 38% of how we communicate, and words are only 7%. I try to tell people all the time, let me prove to you how unimportant what you say is. Have you ever known your significant other was pissed at you and they didn't say anything?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Words really don't matter. Just like sometimes ideas don't matter. It's how you use the idea. It's how you say the words. So I would spend a lot of time, if I was a new agent, calling leads, role playing, calling other people, not face-to-face practicing my pitch over the phone, because it's totally different when you do that.
Yeah, it's funny. So we have in our office, we call it the Meier Accelerator Program. So every day it's an hour where I sit with the agents and we go through this process, and we have agents do role playing. And so you'll have one agent and they'll go like this and they'll be facing the other agent. And I'll be like, no, guys, turn around. Don't face each other. You're not going to face each other when you're on the phones, and it's uncomfortable, more uncomfortable when you're face to face looking at someone. You actually get the benefit of being on the phone when you don't see the other person's face a little bit. And, and it's all about just kind of mimicking. If the person's talking fast, you talk fast, So yeah, it's, dude, I love your language, You
definitely have to be a chameleon with your caller. When you're a Quicken Loans guy and you're in a little market center in Cleveland, you've got leads coming in from Florida and leads coming in from New York and, leads coming in from Nebraska. And if you can't speed up and slow down your tone, if you can't match, your tone to the caller, and it's harder to sell. So definitely true.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So let me ask you, so you were saying you're kind of agnostic, it seems like, from where the leads are coming from. So let's just talk for a minute about, if you're open to it, talking about, Zillow versus Facebook versus all these other different kinds of things. And we're in New York City, so primarily people are on the Zillow platform or Realtor, or on Facebook, of course. And is there a different way to work with leads? And do you have any recommendations or thoughts where people might want to invest? And I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Well, based on our clients and our experience, Zillow's getting expensive, man.
Yeah.
Zillow's pricey. So the thing is, you can price yourself so high, but then a disruptor comes along and takes it back from you. So what's so fascinating to me, Michael, is that where Zillow picked up a lot of their traction, was actually because the newspapers and the radio and the TV was overpriced. And then Craigslist was free. So they came in with like an alternative to traditional advertising. And it worked better. And so as it got better and better, they charge more and more. Well, now what's happened is they're actually going to be a victim of their own strategy, because now they're charging so much, right? Just like the newspapers were, that now I can go to Facebook and I don't need Zillow, because if it's $8,000 a month for Zillow leads, like how far that money would go, the cost per lead, amount of clicks, traffic, branding, retargeting, impressions, it's not even close. But ultimately we don't think about so much. Like I said, like if the Zillow leads are making me more money than they're costing me, I'm in. It can't be barely more. It's a lot of headaches. But if I'm getting a 4 or 5 or 6x ROI on Zillow, and I'm getting a 3 or 4 or 5x ROI on Facebook, why are you choosing? Like that's you shouldn't make that choice. I remember listening to Tom Ferry one time. He's like, think of your business like a privacy fence. And if there's only 1 or 2 panels, people can see through it. So if you're only working your past clients, if you're only doing open houses, if you only work by referral, your fence isn't as strong as it could be if you had Zillow and Facebook and Craigslist. Now, the reason we push Facebook is quite simple. Number 1 is cost. But number 2 is when somebody goes on the Zillow app and does a bunch of searches, and then they go to Google and do a bunch of searches for homes, where do you think they go when they're done? Where do you think they were before they started? They're on Facebook before they go to Zillow, and they're on Facebook when they close Zillow. So the way we look at this is if you want to be in front of everyone without the cost and time of trying to be everywhere, Facebook's your best bet. Every person that uses Zillow uses Facebook more. The only difference is when they log on to Facebook, they're not looking for a house. But if they're thinking of selling their home, they don't stop when they log on to Facebook. So it's called demand generation, which is what Facebook provides, versus demand fulfillment, which is what Google AdWords and Zillow and Craigslist provide. And again, both is the best approach. It's just that not everyone can afford to be everywhere. Not everyone's zip code's available on Zillow. So then what do? Right?
Yeah, no, completely. And listen, I just want to just throw something in here. Should have done this at the beginning of the show, but you were very, very nice of you to offer. By the way, do you hear an echo right now? Are you hearing me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, great. So I'm hearing a loop back in on my side. So if guys, you're watching the show now. First of all, if you haven't read the conversion code, okay, you need to read it. Okay. It's funny because I've actually pulled this book up on several other shows that I do, because I use it oftentimes to put my mouse on it, because like it's an inspirational book. So it's a good one. You should go and read it. And number 2, if you don't have it yet, it's your lucky day, because the first 4 people who go onto Instagram, and this is what you got to do. You just got to take a picture right now of this Facebook Live video. Okay. All right, there you go. You got to take a picture of the video.
Or a video.
What?
Or a little video clip.
Oh, yeah, sweet, even better. A video clip, and you just stick it on Instagram, okay? Stick it up there, hashtag Chris, hashtag me. Just if you don't know Chris's hashtag, it's Chris_Smith, all right? And my hashtag is Michael Meier, NYC. And you go put it up there. The first 4 people that do it are going to get a signed book from the man himself, Chris. So, Chris, thank you so much.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, guys. Very little is free in this world. This is one of those things. Should be like 400 shares. Okay, cool. So sorry, jumping back into it. So you were talking about, best is to kind of do a little bit of all, but not everybody can afford doing all. So go to where the best value, the best return on investment is going to be.
Well, think of it like this, Michael. Like, I know you love Snapchat, my man. I get it, right? But you would have to really do Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter really well to make the dent you could make with one big Facebook ad, right? So Facebook is the internet. Facebook is the hub now. Facebook is where we all look before we even look at people's faces when we wake up. And so that's the new web. It was AOL. Then it was Google. Now it's Facebook. It will change. I get that. But there is a multi-decade opportunity right now with social. And so think of it like, well, do I really want to have to do Vine and Twitter and Google Plus and Instagram and LinkedIn and Snapchat? Or would I rather just do Facebook? Well, it's just what you just asked me. Do I really want to do Zillow and Realtor.com and Craigslist and SEO and pay-per-click? Or maybe I could just do Facebook.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. It makes complete sense. It's funny that you talk about how Facebook being the internet. So, I'll tell you my place, so to speak, with Snapchat. And one of the things is I don't see Snapchat as a lead generator. I see Snapchat more as a, first of all, facilitating a relationship with someone once you already kind of have the lead. It's just another vehicle of communication that's very personal.
Yeah.
And I also see it as a more of a branding kind of tool because you get to know people. Like you can't really, at this point, really place ads on Snapchat. You can now, they just made it post links and stuff. But yeah, it's very different. If somebody says, I want to go.
Think about that, Michael. Let me stop you.
Yeah.
You invested a lot of time and energy and effort into Snapchat and they didn't have links.
Yeah.
You couldn't get clicks, but you didn't care. You know why? The main reason you did it? Because you actually like it.
Yeah.
That's how I teach people social media. Like, which one do you log on to every day without doing any ads? And if it's Facebook or if it's LinkedIn or if it's Twitter, like that's probably where you should do some ads because you're already there every day. But then because you were an early adopter, because you built your network when the other agents in your office said you were dumb, right? Then now they have links. So now you can drive traffic. Now you can more easily get a lead out of there. And they have ads. Like Instagram stories ads are killing it. Absolutely killing it for click-through rate, for time on site once they click through. But it's so funny because 8 years ago, the people that made fun of you for Snapchat made fun of you for Facebook. Yeah. And they said it was dumb. And they said, nobody cares what we're eating. And now they all get referrals from it and they can't stop logging in to look at pictures of their grandkids. So when I hear people say Snapchat's dumb or Instagram's dumb, it makes, all I hear is like the internet is dumb. And I'm not okay with that. Like, I don't believe you.
Thought you were going to say, all I hear is they are dumb, but...
Well, I try to be nice. I understand why people push back. People did not want cars. They wanted faster horses. I get it. But sometimes change is inevitable. And so if you said cell phones were dumb and you said Facebook dumb and you said Twitter was dumb and you said you'd never pay your bills online because it wasn't safe, quit fucking guessing. You're just wrong a lot.
Something that's interesting you just said resonated with me is you talked about how there are different platforms, different options, and ultimately you should go with what is natural to you, what you enjoy doing. So I had Jack Miller on our show a little while back, and he was talking about different quadrants. And, we do this a lot in our company. An agent comes into the company, says, Michael, I want to build a business. And I say, okay, let's talk about what you like doing. Are you a marketing person? Are you a cold calling person, right? Like you used to hit the phones, right? I used to hit the phones.
Yeah.
Are you a converter type, like, internet leads, or are you a networker? And we go through figuring out what is it that, they never know what they want to do. And I say, all right, if you could do it for free and you just did it for fun, what would you go do right now, right?
Right. Would you go online or would you go to a party?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you go look at pixels or would you go hang with people?
Yeah.
Would you get on the phone or would you be in somebody? You're right. It's dead on. I was trying to find our workbook from our conference last year because that was a big part of it was like the networker model and the cold calling model and the dial for dollars model and the expired and FSBO model. The problem is that they all hit a ceiling. You can't make 200 more calls. You know what I mean? You can only make so many calls and then you hit a ceiling. There's only so many expireds. There's only so many FSBOs. So while you can attack each of those, you are going to hit a ceiling with each of those too. What I think people have to start thinking about, whether they're new to real estate or they've been in the industry a while, is I actually want to challenge people to stop trying to make the Inman news list and start trying to make the Inc. list. If you'll go into your real estate career trying to become the best small business owner in your area, you'll easily become the best realtor. You know, so many people think small. I just put up some clips last week, like Gary Keller, think big and then double or triple it. People are thinking too small.
Great.
So like if I start out to try to be the number one small business in my market and I fail, I'm still probably the top realtor in my market. If I try to make Inc. and I fail, I'm going to be on Inman's list.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm going to throw you a little, curveball here. Hope it's okay.
No problem.
Awesome.
But my camera is in sepia, so I hope you like the filter.
You look great either way. Thank you so much for jumping and joining us here.
Of course. I'm happy to be here.
So Chris, here's my curveball question. So obviously you're very into, online leads, internet leads, conversions, the conversion code. So you were talking about how there's like a ceiling when it comes down to other things, but I know a lot of agents, and this is a problem that they have, that let's say and I'm gonna use Zillow as an example, okay? They'll go and they'll spend a ton of money on Zillow and they'll get a lot of leads, and they actually do make quite a good living on it. And they get a lot of leads from Zillow. But there's also a maximum time. There's a max amount of time they can talk to people that, people calling in, and a lot of, just the numbers, as you know, with internet leads, there's a lot of numbers that get you to a small number. And just like it was in the olden days when you used to hit the phones, and I was the same, like I was like the crazy guy with a cell phone in one hand and a regular telephone in the other, because back then there was no triple dialer. Yeah. There's a time. So how do people like that leverage up? Because it's the same kind of, they get maxed out and they get exhausted. Well,
I'm going to actually quote Grant Cardone, which is that not having enough time is the biggest lie we tell ourselves. Audit your time better. The people that say they don't have enough time actually don't have enough focus. They don't have enough employees alongside. Like almost every person I've ever met that doesn't have enough time actually has a problem letting go. And that's why they don't have enough time. So that's a really hard problem to fix. The fact that you don't have enough time is a lie you tell yourself. Yeah. Just deal with that. Now, what happens is, and this is, go ahead. Just interrupt there. It's funny. So, in my company now, we're a growing company and we're looking for a head of growth, like a full-time person to assist me with the coaching of the agents and to, bring in agents into our company. And I was interviewing someone today and she said to me something interesting. She said, so, wow, you're looking to bring someone else to kind of do some of the coaching that you're doing as well and help you with it. Like, I didn't think that you would, that you would want to let go. And do that. And I was like, what do you mean let go? Like by not bringing someone in that better services my agents and allows me to bring in more agents, that's letting go. By bringing someone in, that's opening up. That's like saying this, I'm doubling down. I'm not, by saying I don't want to hire someone else. That means I don't believe in my product and I'm not willing to invest in it further. So it's funny. It just happened 2 hours ago. Yeah, it is a challenge. I mean, listen, it's very tough for me to believe that someone's going to be better at selling my shit than me. I get it. Like up until like a week ago, I still signed off on every ad and email that the company put out the door. So I understand that it's hard to let go. I just also understand the upside of doing so. What ends up happening, Michael, is let's say that the only thing that person you hire does is coach. Well, believe it or not, if somebody only coaches all day, every day for a living, they will get better than you. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to believe that. It's called specialization of task, folks. When you try to wear every hat, you don't wear any of them very well. And so you can keep telling yourself that you're the best person to do X, but it's a lie, because if it were the only thing someone else did, they would lap you in a week. Yeah. That is good stuff. Dude, you are like a walking inspirational quote book. So we're going to have a lot of content to mash up over here. Thank you so much for doing this. And but it really does bother me. Like I read a book called The 4-Hour Workweek and it changed my life, because basically the concept is, what if you literally would die if you worked your 4 hour and 1 minute per week? What would you do in the 4 hours you had if you would die at 4 hours and 1 minute worth of work. And what ends up happening is if you write down all the stuff that you would have to do to still make a living, if you only had 4 hours a week, you start realizing that that's the only stuff you should do no matter what. So you would probably say, I need to talk to people. I need to make sales. I need to go on appointments. I need to be on the phone. You probably wouldn't say that you should spend those 4 hours on fucking Google Plus, right? Like posting a picture. So you have to sort of really audit, like, if I had 4 hours a week to work, what would I do? And maybe that's all I should do anyway. Maybe I should outsource, delegate, or automate the rest.
Yeah, that's first of all, that was a fantastic book. That book, it's funny how it was written so long ago. I don't remember that. Like, the book's like 10 years old or something, right? The 4 Hour Workweek.
Yep.
It's like,
yeah, I still think it's by far his best work. I was actually disappointed in Tim Ferriss's new book. I love his podcast, but like, the 4 Hour Chef and the 4 Hour Body, I think the 4 Hour Workweek is still his best book. So people that haven't read it should read that. But it really just comes down to the fact that 10% of your activities make you 90% of your money, and 10% of your customers take up 90% of your time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's funny because currently I'm also in the process. I have a few books that I'm reading here, but I don't know if people will see this over here. It's there's another book, Essentialism, similar kind of thing.
Yeah,
elimination is the the steps.
Yeah, guys, go get the book by Mark Mason, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's the book everyone needs to read. That's the book that helps you break through, is when you stop caring about what other people think about you. Like I was listening to a Gary Vee interview, and he's like, 18 months ago when I had this guy D-Rock following me with a camera, people thought I was weird. Now it's like becoming normal. So I remember one time I was listening to Tom Ferry speak, and he said something I never forgot. He said, power actually starts with courage. You got to be courageous. You got to be willing to do the things that people will laugh at. When I started my YouTube channel 9 years ago, those videos, I wish I could delete them from the existence of the internet. They were terrible. But if you don't start trying, you won't be good anytime soon. Video number 1 sucks. Like, I think it's a Hemingway quote. The first draft of everything is shit.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that, there's for people that are watching the show on the replay, or you're watching it right now, it doesn't really matter. This is one of those shows that you should replay. And this is a show where there's like a lot of wisdom for you to tap into. And you started off with the show by saying a lot of it is mindset. And at the same time, you said that it's not only just mindset, it's actually doing things, right? The quote about somebody walking into an investor's, office and says, I have an idea. And the investor pulls out the drawer and says, I got 5 million ideas. Show me someone who can execute and we can do business. So I love that you're bringing in both just the hype and the energy, and you're obviously an energetic guy. So I totally feel it. And that's great, but you're also all about actions, and you help people take those actions. So first of all, I'm going to give a little plug for you here. And Chris didn't ask me to do this. So number 1, get the book. Number 2, if you're looking for help with capturing leads, if you're looking for help with coaching and the ability to work those leads, you're looking for someone that knows technology, that knows marketing, this is someone that you need to look into, and you need to look into Curator, and definitely a big thumbs up over there. Chris, thanks you so much for joining us on the show. If people want to reach out to you, they just type in your name, but what's the best way for people to reach you?
Yeah, my name's actually a tough way to track me down.
I know, actually, I was thinking that.
Yeah, I have the worst name ever, Chris Smith. That is my real name. But yeah, people can email me, or my email address is chris@curator.com. All my social media handles are Chris_SMTH. I couldn't afford the vowel.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, it is Michael Meier, NYC is my handle. And the same thing, there's like 500 ways to spell Meier. So everybody always gets to a different Meier before they get to me. It's Meier. Michael Meier, NYC. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us here on the Michael Meier Show. Please post your questions below. Share this post. This is a post that is, it's such a valuable post. It's such a valuable video, such a valuable interview. Chris always brings it, and he did this time. So go ahead and do the right thing with your fellow agents. Do the right thing with your fellow business owners, and share this with them. Good things, they come around and they go around. Chris, thanks so much for joining us on the show. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. And you're the man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.